Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
So, Trevor, I got to ask, does that video bring back some great memories for you?
Yeah, it was a boyhood dream to play in the NHL, my man. It was a blast, and my parents just sent me a picture. I was like a kid, and I had an Islanders hat on. I was probably 8 years old, so I didn't know I was a fan of the team until I seen that picture. But that was back, that was back in the '80s when they were winning all those cups. So, no, it was a blast, man. I enjoyed sticking up for my teammates and fighting for the crest on the front, not the name on the back. And I got to do it for a very long time, 4 years junior and 19 years pro. So, it was an honor to do that job and protect some great players along the way.
So, wait a second. As a kid growing up in Canada, how much did you actually know about the Islanders?
I mean, in Canada, it's like our religion. Hockey's like our religion. So, obviously, I was born in 1979, so they were winning the cups there in those years in the early '80s, and then the Oilers took over. So, who knows? Maybe my dad was a fan. John Tonelli is from my hometown where I was born in Milton, Ontario, and obviously he was a big-time player for the Isles, winning those cups. So maybe that's why I had the hat. But we ended up moving to Cambridge, Ontario, when I was sixth grade. So, my favorite team is the Leafs and the Bruins. I was kind of messed up in those two teams, I guess.
Well, I could see the Bruins. I could see, the Bruins or the Flyers, with how you were. But it's funny how you say that because way back, because I'm an 8-year former season ticket holder, and I remember a lot of the old Islanders saying that when they grew up, they didn't even know anything about Long Island when they were first coming here.
Yeah, I mean, I knew about the island. Obviously, I played in Bridgeport for a year and a half and had a lot of guys up and down. And, when I got called up, Rick DiPietro is a dear friend of mine, and he got sent down because his body, he was on rehab. He was working the kinks out in the minors with us, and I was always in the gym. My career almost got cut short by a bad concussion. I hit my head on the ice in a fight I was dominating against Paul Bissonnette. But he was taller than me, and instead of me landing to the right side or the left side, we used to take our buckets off in the AHL because we had visors on. And, he's taller than me. So when we went up and lost our footing, all our weight, which I was 235 and he was probably 230, smashed down on my head. So I was told I should never play again by this brain lady. Neurosurgeon, neurologist, whatever she's called. And I pretty much told her, I go, ma'am, unless you got 115,000 what I'm making right now and possibly 500-600 a year that I'm going to make in the NHL, I promise you I'm going to get healthy. It might take a little time. I promise you I'm going to come back better than ever, stronger than ever, and I'm going to fight more than ever. So sure enough, a year later, I made the NHL in 9 months. And then I played forever after that. So I guess she was wrong.
So at what age did you know you were, better than the kids in the neighborhood, and it was going to be your actual career?
To be honest, I was a super tall, skinny kid, and I know this is probably going to get seen by a lot of people, but I don't really care because I'm totally against bullies. So I was a kid that got bullied by older kids. The kids our age, my brother is a year and 9 months younger than me. There's these brothers who won't say their name on the air, but me and my brother, we had problems with them, and we beat the crap out of the two brothers our age. But when the big brothers got home from middle school, they kicked the crap out of me while my brother ran home. And my dad's hardcore old school. I'd come home bleeding and crying. And, he was the supervisor of plumbing at the Toronto airport. He got tired of that happening, so he put me in martial arts. And, after about 8-9 months, I entered me in some tournaments, and I won both tournaments. And after that, I always said I'll never let anyone get bullied again. And I got good at it, and I enjoyed it. And pretty much, I've been fighting my whole life. But at 15, when I moved away from junior, is when the draft list came out for the OHL. And the way how physical I was with body contact, the other team's 20-year-old tough guy would come grab me and jump me. So Roger Maxwell was on our team. And Big Rod, we called him Buddha. He's a black guy. He won 2 Calder Cups in the American League. Never played in the NHL, but was super tough, great dude. Kind of took me under his wing. He was 20. And I was 15. He said, "Hey, kid, the way you're playing," he's like, "I love it. We got to work on some stuff." Obviously, being a natural lefty, if I started firing right away, it was kind of an advantage because most guys aren't expecting it. 99% of hockey fighters are right-handed, and they can't throw left worth of shit. So we bolted my helmet on, and they couldn't jump me anymore. And if someone wanted to go me, they had to ask me to fight, and I'd have to twist it off, and it kind of hurt getting it off. That's how tight it was. And we'd go to center ice and do it like men. There was no one jumping me anymore, and I kind of got recognized for that. And we ended up winning the championship. We won the Tier 2 championship. Dana Zubris was on our team. He went right from Tier 2 Junior A right to the NHL and played 22 years. He played with the Flyers. He played with Washington Capitals. The end of his career, he was in New Jersey. But we just a great team, and it was great to be around all those old dudes. And, pretty much since 15, I've been doing the same job to answer your question.
Now, the OHL has a reputation. So is there anything like, say, the movie Slapshot in the OHL?
Not anymore. I mean, now they're not even allowed to have, I don't think they're a certain amount of fights and they get big trouble. It's kind of like the American League. They've gone, it's like the way of the dinosaur. There's not many guys, there's no guys like that anymore. But back when I was there, I mean, there was fights every game. My last year junior, I played on a Oshawa Generals team in 98, 99. I turned pro in 99, 2000, but we had me, Andrew Peters, who played a long time with the Buffalo Sabres, big tough guy. He's a second-round pick. And we had Richard Scott, another heavyweight. We had Brandon Cullen, who played in the minors, almost made the Islanders back in the day, and got sucker punched by Lassard and ended his career. We had T.J. Reynolds, who was a longtime minor league tough guy in the AHL and East Coast. I mean, we had 7 or 8 guys that were just like animals. Brandon Coulter was on the team, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we had a really skilled team. We were just really good. We had great goaltending. It was just like the kind of hockey that, you grew up watching in the 80s and 90s. That's what I'm all about. And it was a blast playing in the OHL. I loved it.
Now, look, hockey, and to my knowledge, I can't even wrap my head around why they're so anti-fighting. Because, look, unlike any other sport, you guys are on ice. There's collisions. Tempers are going to flare. Hands are going to get thrown, whether they like it or not, whether they want to admit it or not. So how much do you follow the sport right now?
I haven't watched an NHL game from start to finish in a very long time until I went to the Islanders alumni weekend last weekend and really enjoyed the game. Got to meet up with Matt Martins, who's the guy I worked with when we were young. We played on the line together in the NHL with the Islanders, and he's still there. I didn't get to speak with Bailey. There's not many guys left from when I was there, but it was a great game. I enjoyed the Barclays Center, hanging out with all the old legends like Clark Gillies, Nystrom, Trache, all the 90s guys like Mick Lakota. And I mean, there was 52 of us there. They treated us very well. It was first class, and I don't really follow it too much anymore. I mean, the game is very highly skilled. I'll give it that, but they've taken away a lot of the battle and the warrior side of the game, and that's what I'm all about. I'm all about the brotherhood. There'd be a lot less concussions if you had to worry about a couple heavyweights coming to get you, sticking up for the team. So guys, every year it gets faster. Guys train harder, they eat better, the equipment gets better, and you're skating around. The slow players are around 24 miles an hour, probably me, and the fast guys are 30 miles an hour. You got a weapon in your hand, and it's a fast-paced game where, like you said, emotions run high and things are bound to happen. There's still going to be the fights, but I'm the wrong guy to talk to because I'm total pro, stick up for your teammates regardless of the cost. I'm as old school as it gets, and it was an honor to do the job. But to me, watching the NHL most nights in the regular season is like watching Disney on Ice with my daughter.
Did you ever think about going into coaching?
I would love to coach. I have a daughter who's 11, growing up very fast. She's 5'5", and my son's in first year college. I'll be 40 in January, so I was blessed to have a wife that supported me over a very long career, and kind of told her that it's time to stay home. I'm in sales. I work for a company out of Long Island actually called Merchant Pro Express. I'm vice president of business development, and pretty much I save a certain list of businesses, blue collar, B2B, charities, nonprofits. I save them a bunch of money on their rate/fees with all their credit card processing and merchant services. And I was there for Pink Tie in June, and it was a blast, and I got to come back. So I still get to come back. Got a lot of friends in the island, one being your buddy who got me on the show, and Chris Gubnitsky, owner of Effective Aggression. We paired up, and we do a bunch of clothing stuff, and he does a lot of good stuff for cancer, so it's an honor to pair up with him. But what exactly did you say? I get hit a lot. I kind of rambled there. I'm having I'm having a pouch right now, and I just had a coffee. I'm feeling pretty good.
Were you ever going to think about going into coaching?
Oh, yeah. So I told the wife I'd run with the ball with business for a while. I'm not saying it'll never happen, but right now I need to be around for my kids. And I was gone a long time, the last 5 or 6 years. Since I was in the island, actually, they haven't come with me. I'm like a military. I go away, do my thing, and they come visit. So, yeah, I need to be around. Doing Christmas when I was over in Russia over Skype, while your kids are opening gifts is not an easy thing. So, especially it being Veterans Day, got all the respect and love for all the vets that make us have such a great life here in America, because, the sacrifices they take, just with their families alone, let alone, if something happens bad with injuries, is something that has all my love and respect.
Now, as far as combat sports is concerned, boxing, wrestling, and MMA, everybody's on their feet. You guys being on a sheet of ice, on skates, I can't even fathom it. And just to give you a really fast story, back when they used to do the skate with the team for the season ticket holders, look, I got to be honest, I got to call it the way it was. Scott LaChance, back in the day, happened to lead the NHL skating backwards into his own goalie. Okay? So a lot of the season ticket holders started calling Scott LaChance Scott No Chance. We go to skate with the team, and I can roller skate, I can roller blade, no problem. Put me on skates, I'm like a brand new baby deer. I got the wobbly legs. So I'm holding onto the boards with one hand. I put one foot out on the ice. I'm like, okay, I think I got this. I put my second foot on the ice, and literally, like a millisecond, I'm on my ass. And of all people to be standing over me when I hit the ice was Scott LaChance laughing at me. So what I got?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that if you started when you were young, it's just like anything, like learning to walk, learning to run, playing sports young. Young people pick things up so fast, they're like sponges. So pretty much, if you're in a deep knee bend and your knees are over your toes, you shouldn't be able to see your toes. Almost like you're going to be taking a squat on the potty is how we teach kids. And that kind of gives you, and then you start going side to side. You can pick it up pretty easy. I mean, I could teach you how to skate easy. I've taught adults, and I used to have a side business every summer teaching kids and how to play, and anyone who wanted to learn, really. It's just like anything else. I mean, we've grown, we started skating in Canada like 2, to get us on blades, our parents, so on the ponds and lakes. And, I've had fight coaches. I have Mark Grubel, Stevie Dement, Chris Elms. These guys are all like kind of pros. They all are specialized in certain things. And then we work with jerseys and it's not like you're just like flailing away like the old days. I mean, you got two edges. You got an inside and outside edge, deep knee bend. You don't lose your reach. It's like a science behind it. It's not just like close your eyes and chuck them type stuff. I mean, I wasn't big enough, so I had to be more skilled. Triangle block, cross grabs. Once I got a hold of the right hand, I knew they couldn't throw left. So then I'd go towards their right hand so they couldn't hit me with the left. And then I'm targeting their liver, the neck, the occipital base, or I'm trying to end the fight because they're way bigger than me. And that comes from constant practice on the mitts and, staying sharp in the gym. I mean, I was doing fight lessons like 5-6 days a week to make it to the NHL. And then obviously paying $5,000 a summer to work on my skating with Burgraff out of Fargo, North Dakota. And I mean, it's a full-time job, especially these kids nowadays. They're so good. I mean, there's kids that are 10 years old that are, if you compare them to the old day talent with the puck, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the game is evolved and, I do enjoy watching that, but I mean, I couldn't play in that style of game. I'm old school as it gets.
So with all the fights that you were in, do you have one guy that you can say is the number one foil for you?
I mean, that's real tough. I had almost 400 hockey fights. I'd have to give it to Bugard, though, just because I'm 6'3". Right now I'm 240. I'm a little heavier than when I played in the NHL. I was like 228 to 232 when I was in the NHL, but I was up to 254, so I'm pretty happy that I'm back down trim and in shape. After playing, you have to curb your eating and then still keep the exercise up, which I do every day. But I'd have to give it to Boogie. He knocked me out, and I fought him in the minors, and I beat him in the minors year before. But, he did the same thing. He got a fight coach, and he learned how to use his, reach and learn how to punch properly. And he was very, very hard to fight because he was like 6'8", 285 at the end. And, he got me. He got me with a good one. I couldn't even tell you if it was hard, honestly. Obviously it was. It put the lights out. But I don't remember a couple of minutes of my life there, but yeah, that's fine. And then I got to fight him again a third time in Long Island at center ice. And pretty much I just, I had a lot more time in the minors to, perfect my craft and working with. After he knocked me out, I realized I couldn't go toe-to-toe with those giants. I had to be a little bit more intelligent and try not to get hit. So I was doing a lot of triangle blocks. Thank God he didn't hit me in the head again, or I would have been looking up at the lights probably again. He was beating the crap out of my arms and my body, and I just survived in the fight pretty much and took it the distance. Definitely didn't win it, but may he rest in peace and, prayers to his family. Him being in the NHL and being so dangerous gave a lot of guys quality jobs for a long time. So it was sad to see him and some of the other boys pass. But I'd have to give it to him. I could name a ton of guys that are super tough in the minors. Guy who gave me my shot, Mel Engelstad. They called him Mad Mel Engelstad. He was super tough. He gave me my first fight on my first shift in the AHL. And when I got called up after a couple of years of being up and down. Steve McLaren was nails. One of my best friends, Yablonski's a killer. He was like 6-time Golden Glove champion. He's got 2 heavyweight belts in MMA. Now he does like contract. He has all kinds of crazy stuff now with military kind of guys. And there's just so many tough dudes. I mean, you don't make it to the AHL or the NHL as a legit fighter unless you're totally legit. It's impossible to do.
Now, after all those fights, I have to ask, are you even worried about CTE?
No, to be honest, I kind of was for a bit. I received another concussion. That's why I'm not playing. I was going to try to play 20 years, this would have been my 20th. The last year I blew a kid up on a hit. It wasn't even a fight. Like all my fights I did really well. All the big boys were kind of done, and I just kept playing. And it was fun to go. I played in Charleston, South Carolina. It's one of the best places in America. And it's only 2.5 hours from where we live here in Augusta, Georgia, where the Masters is, where my wife's from, and I'm from Canada. But I had this hit and my vision got all whacked out and, I got down and I had all these pains in my head for like a couple months. And I went and seen Mrs. Zucker is just a phenomenal woman. She's worth like $4 billion and she's a philanthropist. Was the owner of our team. And, anyway, she got me to see one of her best friends in Dr. Sanjal J. Patel. He's one of the top neurosurgeons, neurologists in America. And he pretty much told me, I got a dye scan in my arm, and it lights your head up. I didn't have any shrinkage in my brain. I didn't have any dead spots. I didn't have any lesions. Pretty much my brain checks out very, very healthy. And he just said, he's like, man, you're so blessed and lucky to, especially after all your fights. He's like, I did research and watched a bunch. And he's like, no wonder why everyone loved you. He's like, you laid it all out there. He's like, but you got to stop this madness. You're almost 40 years old with a family. And pretty much I finally listened to someone's advice, because usually I'm so type A, just chasing the carrot, that I would have kept going if I was in my younger years. But, I'm out of the game. I have no problems. I work out every day, and I work just like a normal life. A bit of a difference from chasing a little black piece of galvanized rubber, scaring the crap out of people and hitting and fighting for your team, into the business world. But I've truly embraced and enjoyed the challenge, and it's going well. And no, man, I'm a happy dude. I loved every minute of fighting. I'm not like the other guys doing whatever they're doing that I don't, some of them, if they need it and they really need it, then I respect it. But, some of them I don't really agree with what they're doing. I loved every minute of my job, and I truly love to fight. It was an honor to do it for so many years, and, get a chance to play pro hockey for as long as I did. I feel blessed.
So I know, like, a lot of forwards hang out together. Goalies are notorious for hanging out with each other because I think they're all mental patients. Is there like a camaraderie with the enforcers?
Yeah, most of us, we're like a small fraternity. Like I talk to Colton Orr once in a while, who I fought 10 times. Brian McGrattan was a teammate of mine. He's bigger and he's a killer. Yablonski's my best friend. He was in my wedding. Mike Scroy was in my wedding. Joel Recklish is a dear friend of mine. Justin Johnson I just partied with. I fought him twice. He's black dude. He dropped John Scott. Seneca Konopka's a dear friend of mine. Brett Gallant. The list goes on and on. It's a very humbling job. You could be the man one day, have a great fight against one of the top guys, and then if you're not always on and prepared, you can lose at any time and be looking up at the lights, seeing the, Tweety birds. But, it's a humbling job. It's a tough job. It's the toughest job in pro sports, and we all get it. We put friendships aside. I was best friends with these guys, and we're fighting each other. We realize we have a job to do. If the game gets a little hairy, scary, we'll go out and be like, hey, we got to settle this down. And you kind of just have a clean fight. And, those guys, you make sure you don't hit them when they're down. We pat each other on the head, say, good job, bro, kind of deal. And then we go in the box, and after the game, we're hugging and kissing each other's wives with black eyes. It's just, I know it sounds kind of retarded, but, it's all about putting that, that crest on the front before the name on the back. And, you have a job to do regardless of friendships or whatever. And that's what's so cool about it. We still all remained great friends after having to go to war with each other so many times. So, but I get along with everybody. I hung a lot with skill guys. Goalies. It's like a brotherhood. It's like a family. You're with each other so much that, that's one of the things everyone misses when they're done. And that's what I miss, is all the guy time. Even riding the bus or the plane, playing cards. Big game in hockey is called Schnarples. It's a trick-based game. Just all those times with the boys is an absolute blast. So, definitely miss that.
Now, how did you first get involved with Chris and effective aggression?
So Chris used to do these awesome charity events, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name. He's a legend, boxing legend. Teddy Atlas just came to me, and we had a couple really cool events. They had a guy from Lights Out that was there. The head guy used to love that show. It was a boxing show. I don't know if you remember it, but Chris had this awesome event that he invited a bunch of the guys, but I was the only player that showed up, and we just formed a relationship. And I liked all the stuff he was doing. His clothing's awesome. His attention to detail is awesome. And we had talked, and he asked me if I'd ever thought about coming out with my own little line. And it's a cool little side hustle. I get to, talk with fans and all the great people that have been, so supportive and awesome to me over the years. I speak with them online and social media, and this is a cool little side hustle, and I'm very honored to call him a friend, and I'm glad he's handling the website and doing my stuff because he does a great job.
I think I can concur with that. So I got to ask, why TG51 and not TG14?
Well, I mean, I think TG51, TG51 sounds better. I wore TG51. I wore 51 most of my career. We might come out with an Islander one. I'm buddies with Scott Boggs, who's the equipment manager. But when you go from Gillies, who was suspended almost as much as I played, which whatever it is, what it is, to giving it to that other guy, whoever had it, that was like a soft dude who played defense. I just figured I might come out. So that's why we came out with a Wild Man shirt. So it was actually we had to take the Islanders logos off it because of copyright. And, obviously the Easton helmet, I had to take that logo. We had to take that logo off. But that was like my snarl when I'm pissed off. So it was kind of like someone captured it. And that's why we came out with a Wild Man shirt where it's me with the big handlebar mustache. And for everyone who's listening, how that started with the mustache was in the minors, me, Joel Recklish, who is the other fighter, he's one of my good friends, and Scott Monroe is our starting goalie. I shaved my head for St. Baldrick's, and then we decided we were going to grow mustaches for Movember and prostate cancer to raise money. And we had a bet that whoever shaved, they had to pay $500. So I wasn't paying $500 in the minors is quite a bit of money. It's a few days' pay. So, when I got called up to the island, I had the mustache, and the fans kind of took to it as old school, kind of like, Clark Gillies and all those boys running around with mustaches. And the way I played was kind of really throwback. So I approached Gar Snow at one time. My agent told him that I was thinking about shaving my mustache, and he goes, "You can't shave your mustache." He's like, they started selling Rock the Stash shirts and had mustaches at the games for sale. And, I just kind of embraced it. And my dad always had a big handlebar mustache, so I kind of just ran with it. I had it for like 2.5 years. And my wife absolutely hated it. I'd grow it back right now. I ride motorcycle. I got my own custom chopper. And I'd have it right now if she was cool with it. But, it won't be, happy wife, happy life type deal.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to lose your final fight to the wife.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm retired on the fighting. Yeah, I'm just a fun-loving dude, man. I love life. I love people. I talk to them all the time, and it's an honor to be on here. I'd come on here whenever you want, man. I love to talk, and I got a million stories. We could talk as long as you want. I don't know how long your show is.
Well, let me tell you something. When we meet, not even if, when we meet up, I got some dirt to lay on you about the way it was on Long Island during the Generation Next, the new Ice Age, and all those years, and dealing with a former GM of yours that you know what? I'm not even going to qualify the smack he talked about you because I think he's out of line. But
Who?
Mr. Milbury. Especially,
man, I could care less about that guy. Are you kidding me? He's a hypocrite. You go Google his name and then watch him beat someone with a shoe.
That's exactly what I was going to say. For him to
he's a puppet. He's a Bettman puppet. I ain't no puppet. I did my job. I did what I was told. If you want to make NHL money, and a brawl needs to be happened because they were laughing nonstop at Rick DiPietro when he got knocked out, and we have a meeting saying, "Hey, we're not going to be pushed around anymore," and the likes of me and Konopka and Matt Martin that always do our job. You notice how many guys fought, like Bailey, Hamonic. The list goes on of guys that never used to fight that we had that junkyard dog mentality. And we're like, we're not going to get pushed around. We'd have line brawls. And when something needed to happen, we just did it. And it was that was what was so fun about it. We just had a terrible November. We didn't win it. I don't think we won a damn game, but once we decided we weren't going to let us be a doormat, which they thought we were, our record at the end of the year was phenomenal. It was one of the best in the league. Unfortunately, we had a terrible month of probably no wins. Otherwise, the run we were on at the end, we probably would have made the damn playoffs. We would have just been even half that good the whole year.
So as far as the clothing line,
I could care less about Milbury. I'd like to see him try to say something to my face, honestly.
First of all,
hey, I'm a jacked up 240 still. I do fight training twice a week. I mean,
listen,
I would say a lot more, but we'll just leave it at that. He wouldn't say a damn word to me on the ice because I'd bring his head to the village.
I'll tell you what. What's even worse than Milbury saying crap about you is to watch Ken Klee, of all people.
I don't even know who that is. It's like irrelevant.
He was the softest person to ever wear a Capitals jersey, ever.
I don't even know who he is. Hey, you say my name. I guarantee you they know who it is. I only scored 2 damn NHL goals, but I promise you they know who I am.
I'm like I said, that frustrated me more to watch Klee talk about. Because look, Mike was a fighter.
You know what I call it? It's a guy that's trying to keep his job, and I call it a keyboard warrior. I mean, there's 1,000 of them every day online. You know what I mean? I don't even say anything. I just laugh. Like it's so fun for me and my wife to read comments that people write. It's just like, you have no idea of the real human being that I am. Like, I do a lot for people, and I'm all about giving back, and I'm a lover of life. Like, I'm a totally different person off the ice, but I have a switch at any time I can flip. And that's why I was, I'd like to consider myself pretty successful at my job. We could keep it as clean as you want, but you take liberties with my brothers and my teammates, and then it's probably going to come. I'm probably going to come find you. It might not be that game, but we play a lot of these teams 5-10 times. I mean, it's going to happen. That's just how it is, and that's what's the problem with the enforcing rule. They got away from actually enforcing. Instead, it'd be the 2 big guys tapping each other like, "Hey, bro," because we all know each other. Like, "Hey, we got to fight now. It's just kind of getting out of hand." Like, that honestly isn't enforcing. Enforcing is when something happens and you go take care of business.
So as far
everyone wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do.
So as far as the clothing line is concerned,
that's just that's the straight hard facts.
Are there any more articles of clothing coming out?
Oh yeah, we're gonna release some more stuff. We still have some stock right now that we're just kind of banging around, and we'll sell that, and we're going to come out. I mean, thinking about maybe some beanies. Chris is probably hearing this for the first time. I call them, in Canada, we call them toques, but beanies, skull caps, whatever you guys call them in the States. And we got some more ideas for some stuff, and I got a bunch of other guys I've introduced Chris to. So, I'm trying to get him involved with some of the alumni, and some cool stuff might be coming out with some legends and. That all you Long Islanders will love. So, possibly a shirt for charity, and we're not going to reveal everything, but, you just have to check us out. Follow me on all my social media. You got at TG51Wildman on Instagram, or I think my Facebook's filled, but people can write me on there. I'll gladly write them back. It might take me a little bit of time because I have a real job, but no, I'm as approachable as it gets. I take pride in being a regular dude that got blessed to play a little boys and girls game for a very long time.
Well, Trev, I want to thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And like I said, when we meet up, boy, do I got stories that'll have you blushing.
Oh, I can't wait. We should have another. We should do this more often.
Absolutely. Definitely.
So you're Monday night, or how often do you do this?
Every Monday from 7-8.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, I mean, I'm available. I work all day, and then usually this time of night I'm starting to chill out with the girls downstairs. Son's at college,
Cool. We'll definitely do this again.
Yeah, you let me know anytime.
All right.
Coming back to you.
How amazingly awesome was that? Holy smokes. See, I gotta keep it clean. I gotta, shorten this up a little bit. But trust me, the stuff I'm gonna tell him, I'm gonna squeal like a fried pig for everything that happened back in the old days. I'm gonna have him blushing. Trust me. You know what? We're gonna regroup, and we have some wrap ups. We gotta talk. We have big stories. Have a raffle to do. And we're gonna start all that stuff right after this.
This is Frank Edgar.
This is the Barbarian Tim Bosch.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
The MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman, Chuck Liddell. If you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to toss things around a little bit. I'm going to do the raffle right now. So normally it's two questions get answered and one person wins. You know what? Only 3 of you entered, which, by the way, pisses me off. I want all of you guys to right now click share. Share this video, all right? You can enter a raffle and win a prize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one person, answer one question. That person wins. It's going to be really nice and simple this week. So here we go. Number 2. Susan Walker. No, Joe, you cannot spin the wheel, but next week, why don't you ask a question? But Susan Walker, you are going to win a prize. And your question, is the UFC getting rid of the 125 division? And if so, why? Okay, and the whole thing about TJ and Cejudo. Look, and it's a good thing that, that you did win. It wasn't favoritism. You won. It's a big topic coming up. 125 is done. It wasn't doing what it should have done number-wise. And everything today is about the numbers. If you don't have the numbers, you got to go. Now, if you don't know, the reason why 125 started is because Dominic Cruz was cleaning out the 135 division. 125 was basically meant for Joseph Benavidez. DJ wasn't even a thought in anybody's mind. They do the 4-man tournament. Turns out DJ winds up winning the whole darn thing. And DJ goes on the run that he was on till a couple of months ago. Now look, he's a likable guy. I don't know why he didn't draw the numbers he should have drawn. It's a strange thing, how ratings work and who gets the numbers, who doesn't. It's an unfair, cruel biatch is what it is. But it's the way it is. So yeah, 125 is done. It started on that 4-man tournament, and 125 is going to end with TJ against Cejudo, providing, of course, TJ can get to 125, because he's never gone that low. So who's to say he can go 125? Hopefully, fingers crossed, he can. As a matter of fact, that card, 232, in Anaheim, going up against Bellator in LA, both cards are slowly starting to get put together. And listen, the media out there is going to be really tough to pick and choose what they cover, because those are going to be 2 killer cards. So there we have that. One championship last week kind of looked like a UFC event with everybody sitting cage side. You had Eddie Alvarez, you had Demetrius Johnson, you had Sage Northcutt there, who's a free agent. You had Misha Tate, who's now their vice president. So, it was a really interesting card. And one of the highlights is Gary Tonin. And if you don't know who Gary Tonin is, Google him. Gary Tonin on the ground is the best guy on God's green earth. and a couple of the other planets you can mix in too. He's better than anybody. And you know what? That, Bobby, is clip number 2.
Gary Tonin, the jab, and oh, look at the evasion, the takedown. That was sweet. That was slick.
That was beautiful. It doesn't get better than that. Gary Tonin, look, I don't know when and if they'll let him go. I don't know when and if he'll come stateside. And frankly, I don't care if it's the UFC or Bellator. Gary Tonin's the man. Bellator, I don't know, Joe. Just click share, right? There. Or it's me against you, Fiorello, once again. So, besides that happening in one championship, the WBKFF, which is the World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation, which cannot be confused with the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. Yes, there are now 2 companies, Bare Knuckles, Tape Wrists, Knuckles, clean as a whistle. This one is headed by Boss Rutan. There were issues financially and on contracts where Brennan Ward backed out. Former defensive lineman and linebacker Sean Merriman, who is going to make his mixed martial arts debut, he backed out. But what did happen was Dakota Cochran, and frankly, it could have been Mickey Cochran or Dakota Fanning at this point in this guy's life. But he smoked Johnny Hendricks, and Bobby, this is clip number 3.
Hit pretty good by Lieben, not that time.
Lieben hits him again.
Lieben hits him again, and Baroni is down. And that was a good shot that time by Lieben. And it's over.
I guess I didn't have that one as 3. That's my mess up, folks. Look, Johnny Hendricks retired at a little bit late, but good enough time to walk away from MMA. For him to do this bare knuckle thing, not smart. He's looking for trouble. He got completely smoked by Dakota Cochran, and just not a pretty sight. Let's talk UFC 139, the anniversary of the UFC this past weekend. Here are the UFC's numbers, and not counting this last card. 455 events, 4,854 fights, 1,639 knockouts, 1,024 submissions. All those numbers, 25 years, not counting everything that went down this past weekend. But I want to remind everybody, right after me, Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics. Watch them. They're coming up in a little while. Share their show. Share my show. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to reboot in a minute. So we'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller.
This is Dan Merigliotta.
I'm Derek Brunson.
I'm Nick the Carney Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
Alrighty, you know what? You guys by now know everything else that went down this past weekend, from Cowboy Cerrone, from the first ever that I've ever seen Now look, 12 to 6 elbows happen all the time. Most of the time they're illegal. 6 to 12 elbow? Yair Rodriguez, are you kidding me? Holy smokes. Look, the Demetrius Johnson finish of Ray Borg, that jumping triangle armbar, that was an incredible move. This finish tops that. Because, quite frankly, remember something. DJ was winning that fight all along. Here, Yair was losing. He, across the board on all three scorecards, he was losing. 1 second left, ducks a charging Korean Zombie, elbow up out of nowhere. Forget the RKO out of nowhere. This elbow came out of nowhere and puts Korean Zombie out like a light. Wow. That elbow made my toes curl, quite frankly. But one of the big things right now is Amanda Nunes. Now, say what you will about her, say what you will about super fights. Amanda Nunes right now is on the verge of being the GOAT as far as women's MMA is concerned. Just realize, she ended Ronda Rousey. Huge feather in her cap. She ended Miesha Tate. Now, yes, technically speaking, at 205, Raquel Pennington was Miesha's last fight. But the fact of the matter is, the fight before the fight, when Miesha lost her belt to Amanda, Miesha didn't have anything left after Amanda beat her. So, another big feather in Amanda's cap. And Brendan, please don't be a smart butt, all right? No smartness from you, Brendan. So if Amanda Nunes can now put out Cyborg, who was looked at as the GOAT, who I consider number 2 pound for pound right now, and the GOAT as far as all women are concerned. That's the 3 top dogs she would have put out. She has to take the mantle. There's no two ways about it. All right? You cannot argue Amanda Nunes' greatness if she takes out Ronda, Miesha, and then Cyborg. The unbeatable Cyborg. Remember, she lost her first fight. Hasn't lost since. And she's dominant. Obviously, Cyborg's stand-up is dominant. But her ground game is so underrated, it's ridiculous. It's redunculous. It's not even ridiculous. It's redunculous. All right? So, like I said, there's no more flyweights. At least, technically speaking, I think there's 2 more flyweight fights scheduled. Then you have the TJ and Cejudo fight. Hopefully, because, look, for pay-per-views, you need title fights. There are more cards coming in as of January than ever before with this new ESPN package. So they're going to need big fights. If they get rid of a division, they got to replace it with something. Because you just can't let it go. So it makes sense to finally start the 165 division. And frankly, you know what? You put Conor in there. You put Ben Askren in there. You could put Kevin Lee in there. And quite frankly, Donald Cowboy Cerrone said he's going back to 155, and he wants that 155 step. You know what? I'd rather see Cowboy at 165. I don't think he's prime at 155. That's still too low of a cut for him. I want to remind everybody to check out CycloneComedy.com. Check out Psyche Prods on Facebook. Click share. In a few minutes, you guys are going to watch and click share as well for Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics. We could do it on this day really fast. Kendall Grove turns 36. Today, Jorge Masvidal, one of my favorite names in MMA, turns 34. Elizeu Zaleski turns 32. I don't even remember the age of 32. Jesus Christ. In 1993, today's the day We celebrated it a couple of days ago, but today is the day. UFC 1 today in 1993. God, I'm old. I remember that like it was yesterday. But yet I don't remember the age of 32. My mind is, maybe I have CTE, I don't know. In 2011, UFC Fox on Fox 1 happened. JDS KOing Cain Velasquez. Renzo Lamas submitting Cub Swanson. Then 2 years ago today, holy smokes, this was 2 years ago, UFC 205 at the Garden. Conor making history 2 years ago. I remember that like it was yesterday too. Oh, and you know what? It was just about as cold as it was then too. So we did the raffle. We did all that fun stuff. I want to remind everybody, again and again and again, click share, all right? We had a fun show, a nice long interview with Trevor Gillies. Thank you to Trevor Gillies. I want to thank Effective Aggression for bringing him to me. And I look forward to doing a lot more business with Chris and Effective Aggression. So, I think we can wrap it on that. We had fun today. I think so. I know I did. Hopefully you did. And before we go, I do want to say one thing. Rest in peace, Stan Lee, from all of your superheroes. And until next week, when I have another surprise guest calling in, that's called a tease. That makes you want to come back and watch next week. This one's going to be really fun. I am Cyclone, saying, just because you're not an athlete doesn't mean you cannot be an athletic supporter. Bye-bye.